Real Virginia is produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Farming, it's all good. Visit our website at vafarmbureau.org.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all the wonderful foods we enjoy.
Where does your chicken sandwich come from? You'll learn shortly that there's a good chance that chicken was raised in Virginia, where poultry is our largest agricultural commodity. We'll also walk you through the steps of building your own hobby greenhouse, and we'll report on growing efforts to bring local foods into school lunchrooms.
Welcome back everyone. We're here at Goochland Middle and Goochland High School in Goochland, Virginia, where we're going to talk about the farm to school movement. This movement began in the 1990s in Florida and California, and as Norm Hyde reports, it's really picking up pace here in Virginia as well.
Buying local foods is popular with everyone, but it can be a challenge for school systems. Institutional buyers need a consistent supply of food products every single day of the school year. Fortunately, farmers in many Virginia communities are working to expand their growing seasons and ramp up production so they can be part of their local school's food chain.
Virginia runs a statewide program for farm to school, but King George had never participated until this year when finally the pieces just kind of fell into place. We found a local chef, Chef Larry Clark from King George, and the products were purchased locally from our farmers at the farmers market, and we visited each school to do a local lunch for the kids.
The King George Farmers Market's held every Saturday at the King George Elementary School parking lot, so it was an easy step for everyone to link up for Virginia's annual Farm to School Week celebration last November.
I went to the farmers market every Saturday, and I always thought how awesome it would be if we would just purchase our produce from here, because we would know where it was coming from. A lot of the farmers got involved. Some of them, one of them, C&T, actually donated all the produce which we used at 3 schools. And it was just awesome. And we got a chef who donated his time, and we set everything up out in the cafeteria.
It was well received by the kids, even well received by the staff. I mean, the kids really enjoyed it because of the different types of vegetables that were served and the various ways it was being prepared. So they really got a kick out of it.
Going forward, King George County cafeterias have also been incorporating as much local produce as possible in other meals and in the salad bar at the high school. King George will be buying as much locally sourced produce as possible next year, and the county's working with growers to keep local foods on the menu as long as the season allows.
Although I just stopped probably 2 weeks ago on actually getting produce, one of the farmers was still growing cabbage and broccoli, so I pretty much cabbage and broccoli them out, but every school said that every day that we had it on the menu, they sold it all. So the kids know the difference in frozen or canned as opposed to the fresh.
Padavan and her husband have been involved in the quickly expanding local foods movement since 2005, and the farmers market is entering its 5th season. She says some farmers are already taking steps to extend their growing seasons.
Some of our growers have greenhouses and they're able to extend their seasons that way. So things like cabbages, broccolis, cauliflowers, they last right straight through the winter. Green onions and so on. And also all of the greens, kale and spinach and those kinds of things. So we can really grow quite a variety of food here in our region. And as time goes on, I'm sure we'll figure out more ways to grow more things too.
King George County school officials are like many in Virginia who are taking steps to introduce as many local food sources as possible. To learn more about the local foods movement in schools, go to the Virginia Department of Agriculture website and enter Farm to School into the search window. In King George County, Virginia, I'm Norm Hyde. Tucked just south of a bend in the Potomac River is King George County, one of the oldest communities in Virginia. Beef cattle and hay are the principal farm commodities raised on the 180 farms here, but King George County farmers also raise corn, soybeans, and wheat, along with nursery crops. There are also more than 500 horses and ponies in the county, and 534 acres of vegetables for sale are grown here. Altogether, agriculture contributes $4.4 million in farm income to the economy of King George County.
Avid gardeners don't have to wait until summer to satisfy their green thumbs. According to Chris Mullins from the Ground Up, hobby greenhouses are the perfect cure for the wintertime blues.
Hello and welcome to From the Ground Up. I'm Chris Mullins. Today we're in Colonial Heights, Virginia. We're in a typical suburban setting near the interstate, and I'm here today with Rocky Hammond. He's the owner of the greenhouse you see behind us, and we're going to talk a little bit about home or hobby greenhouses today and see if there's something that you as a viewer might be interested in. Thanks for letting us come here, Rocky, today.
Good to see you, Chris.
How big is this greenhouse you've got?
It's 10 by 12.
10 by 12. That's a great size. I noticed you've built it on a hill here. You've built it up a little bit so it can be level and you can grow things in it, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I had to do that so it wouldn't be such a slope.
And it's right behind your house, so it's close to you.
Right.
Your garden's nearby. Why don't we go inside and look at it for a few minutes?
Sounds good.
All right. Okay, Rocky, well, you're in your greenhouse. It's a really nice structure. I'm already much warmer just being in here.
Oh, definitely. Heats up quickly.
So when you're thinking about siting one of these greenhouses, we talked a little bit about slope. There is a slight slope on this. You built it in that way?
Yeah, because I don't want to be standing in water when I'm watering all my plants. If I'm doing my hanging baskets or on the table or below the table, I don't want to be standing in water. So I got a crushed run below this tarp.
Okay.
And so the water, time it hits it, it drains right on through.
Drains through and gets out of the structure. So you don't have a lot of humidity building up in the structure.
Really no humidity.
Great. So when you're thinking, when a person's thinking about siting one of these, how about sunlight?
Yeah, you want to definitely make sure you get good sunlight. Don't have, put it in shade.
Exactly.
Shady area.
So this time of the year, they maybe want to be on the south side of a structure.
Correct.
Right, not the north side where it doesn't get much sun this time of the year.
Exactly.
Because in the late winter time and the early spring is when you're growing your transplants in here.
Exactly. That's when I do both. I do garden plants and for the around the yard and all that. So you really want the sun and the heat will make them grow a lot quicker.
So you grow your transplants that go in your garden.
Yes.
And then also plants that go in your landscape.
Correct.
So you can grow hanging baskets in here?
Hanging baskets, things for flower beds, stuff for the garden.
Where do you put your hanging baskets?
The hanging baskets go on top of these pipes right here and on these hooks.
Oh, that's a great idea.
They alter back and forth.
And then the benches are for your flats and your pots.
Yeah, they're mainly for your sunny plants that can need a lot of sun. And then below the benches below for your shady plants.
Oh, that's great. That's a great combination. So Rocky, obviously to grow the plants you need sunlight. So this is a transparent surface on this. What kind of covering is on this greenhouse?
It's got polycarb on the outside, and then I got a layer of plastic in between it just to create a little bit better R factor to save on heat.
Just to save money on the heat.
Save money on heat, correct.
Gotcha. And it all lets the light through. Obviously, it's bright in here today, so plants will grow really well in here.
Exactly.
Now we talked about heat. How do you heat this structure?
I got two different types of heats. I got one for propane. And I got backup heaters, electric heaters, just in case something does happen to the propane heaters.
Okay. So this greenhouse, the size it is, you can actually figure out how much heat you need to put in this greenhouse.
Correct.
To keep it a certain temperature.
Correct. You just calculate how many square feet you need to heat up and figure out your BTUs for that.
And you can buy your heater accordingly.
You can buy your heater right for that.
How about later in the spring when it gets warm? How do you cool this or ventilate this structure?
Well, I got fans set up in here. The louvers will open up first and let a little bit of air in here. And then if it gets too hot, then the fans kick on and they will automatically start pulling air through here.
Okay.
And got some thermostats right over here against this side, and one controls the louver to tell the louver open up at a certain temperature, and the other thermostat tells the fan to kick on.
So that's automatic. You can go to work in the morning and not worry about it getting too hot and overheating your plants in here during the day.
Correct.
So you mentioned watering. There are some things that a person that would have a greenhouse like this would actually need. They'd need a water hose.
Right.
Something to water with. What do you water with?
Well, I have a spigot right inside my greenhouse, a frost spigot. Okay. And I have one in my garden and also one in my greenhouse. So that way I can turn that on, water my plants, and then turn it off, and the water's turned off below ground. But I'm using a frost spigot.
Well, Rocky, when you decided to put this greenhouse up, did you buy it from somebody or did you buy it from a store? How did you find it?
I bought it from a retail store there in Richmond.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
You know, but there's a lot of places that you can really find greenhouses. You can find them on the internet. You can find them from your different retail stores, or you get supply houses that sell nothing but nursery and you know, products and greenhouse products that you can buy from also.
You might find somebody in your neighborhood that has one that you could take down. Okay.
Yeah.
Was it hard to build?
Not really. It took me about a week to actually put the A-side structure up, and I was working on the evening times and then all the entire weekend.
Just by yourself?
By myself, yes. And that's once I did the flooring, got the level ground and all that.
I noticed you supported it a little bit more with a little bit of extra metal. Why was that?
The main reason is because it was a lighter structure, you know, because I bought it from a retail place. So, because of that, I wanted to beef it up. And, this area gets a lot of wind, and then if you get snow or whatnot, so I got cement pads poured on each one of the corners, and these pipe and structures set on that. So that way you don't have to worry about snow caving it in.
What do you think you spent on the structure itself, maybe?
I got roughly about $1,500 and everything. The structure, the water, the electricity, the fans, everything.
So what's it like in here when you're growing plants in the springtime, Rocky?
Really, truly, I had this place packed from top to bottom with plants. I have so many plants that I grow from my garden, I grow from my house, and flower beds and all. And I also just give to friends and family and stuff like that. So I have a ton out of here.
I bet they're happy about that.
Oh, most definitely, they love it.
Well, thank you for letting us come here today and showing us around. It's a great place you've got here. If you'd like more information, please contact your local Cooperative Extension office. For From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins. We'll see you next time.
Up next on Real Virginia, Kendra Bailey Morris prepares a Virginia kale salad in the heart of the home.
I've always said that you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So let's acknowledge this. 1 in 6 Americans now struggle with hunger. These are our co-workers, our neighbors, our friends. The problem is closer than you think. But so is the solution. This is a changing day, not just in your life, but in the lives of many, many others. Join me by visiting feedingamerica.org and find your local food bank to help. I'm Dr. Phil, and together we're Feeding America.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Kale is a superfood that is readily available in the winter months. It's crunchy, nutrient-rich, and makes an awesome salad. Kendra Bailey Morris has more in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Kendra Bailey Morris, and welcome to the Heart of the Home. Today we are in Sirleaf Taub's beautiful kitchen here in Richmond, Virginia, and the ingredient of the day is going to be raw kale. And I absolutely love raw green vegetables like this. They're so packed with flavor, and they're also really, really, really good for you. I can't stress that enough. It's packed with vitamins and all types of goodness. And I love slow cooking them. I love sauteing them, but when it comes to kale, one of my favorite ways to have it is in a salad. And it's typically a bitter green, so we're going to do a raw kale salad, and we're going to top it with some roasted beets for sweetness, and then add a little tangy zest by doing a horseradish dressing. And it's a creamy horseradish dressing that's going to have a little bit of mayo, a little sour cream in it. Really good. Top it with some pumpkin seeds for crunch. It's delicious, super, super healthy dish. So what I've done, and I've already got it going in the oven, is I'm roasting my beets. And I'm going to show you how I do that. It's really, really, really easy. You don't necessarily need to be using canned beets anymore when you learn this process. And what I've done is I basically just took a whole beet here, and I'm just going to take it. As you can see, it's got the skin on it and everything. It's ready to go. And I just tightly wrapped it in foil and then put it in the oven at 375 for about an hour and 15 minutes until it's really nice and tender. And then once you take them out of the oven, which I'm doing now, I will caution you, beets are messy, but it's worth it because they really are delicious, and there's nothing like that earthy flavor of a fresh roasted beet. And the nice thing is, once you roast them like this, you can let them cool just a bit, and then it's really easy to take the skin off of it. And I'm just going to do that right now. Again, this is super, super healthy as well. And you will get messy hands, I'm not gonna lie about that. But one thing that I like to use when I'm working with beets so I don't get my cutting board messy is to use one of these plastic mats, and you can just wash them off really easily. And I'm just gonna cut the ends of this off, just like this. And then I'm gonna cut these beets. You can cut them into quarters, you can cut them into cubes, whatever you like. Just go ahead and quarter them. And this is going to go on top of our salad. And again, this is what is going to add that really nice sweetness to balance out the slight bitterness of the greens, and then also the horseradish, which has a bit of zest to it as well. Okay. Okay, now that our beets are done, and you could do this a day ahead if you needed to, we're just going to set that aside, and we're going to make the dressing. Again, it's a really, really easy dressing. I've got a little bit of cider vinegar. You could use any vinegar that you have. I like the flavor of cider vinegar. And some sugar. About a teaspoon or so each. And I'm just going to whisk that around. And what you're going for is to try your best to dissolve that sugar so you don't have too many crunchy pieces in there when you add the rest of your ingredients. That's what I'm doing right here. Okay. And now I've got some sour cream. I'm going to add that in. Some mayonnaise. Add that in. And you could certainly, if you wanted to cut the fat on this, you could use low-fat mayonnaise and low-fat sour cream. No problem there, even fat-free if you wanted to. And now I'm going to add my horseradish. And you could add, I've got maybe about a tablespoon in here. You could add less if you want less. Horseradish, if you're not a big fan of that flavor, you can add more. I love horseradish, so I'm doing a full tablespoon here. Okay. And now I've got just a little bit of Worcestershire, just to add a little extra flavor. This is done. I'm going to give a pinch of salt and a little bit of black pepper. Continue to whisk this just a bit. And this is what is going to go in our salad. And what I like to do is dress salads very lightly. And typically with kale as well, it's because it's so crunchy and it is completely raw, this type of kale that we're working with, you can go ahead and add the dressing maybe 15 minutes before you serve it, and then kind of massage it into the kale a bit, and that will help tenderize it and make it a little less crunchy if you like it that way. So I'm going to add almost all the dressing. I'll save a little bit to go on top or on the sides. Some people like their salads heavily dressed, others don't. And I'm just going to get in there. Clean hands, and then I'm really just going to massage this in, like I said. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my beets. And I'm just going to put these right on top. Certainly you could mix it all together if you like. You can always tell you're eating something healthy when it's this colorful. You have your greens and your reds. And then for a little crunch, I'm just adding some toasted pumpkin seeds, or pepitas as they are called. You could add walnuts, you could add any type of nut that you have. Cashews would be really nice in there as well. Give a little drizzle, just in case somebody wants a little extra dressing. There you go. And if you wanted, before you served it, you could go ahead and toss this one more time. Otherwise, you can just have guests serve themselves or plate these individually, just like so. And there you have it, raw kale salad with roasted beets and a creamy horseradish dressing. I'm Kendra Bailey Morris. Let's get cooking.
Recipes from the heart of the home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org. Looking to buy some fresh kale locally at a farmer's market? The odds are better than ever that you can find one near you. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says the number of farmers markets has doubled in the past decade, and Virginia is one of the top 10 states where you can shop at a market almost year-round. There are 53 Virginia farmers markets with winter hours this year, and more growers are expected to join them as they use covered growing tunnels and greenhouses to expand their growing seasons. To find a winter farmers market near you, go to virginiagrown.com.
The popularity of lean meats like chicken and turkey continue to grow nationwide, thanks in part to its start in the Shenandoah Valley. As George Lilly reports, the poultry industry continues to see economic growth in Virginia.
The U.S. Poultry and Egg Association recently found the annual economic impact of the nation's poultry industry to be more than $8 billion. And Virginia's share of that is huge, more than $1 billion. Mike Weaver with the Poultry Growers Association of the Virginias says modern production practices have come a long way since the industry's early roots in the Shenandoah Valley.
Some of the pioneers of the poultry business started in the Shenandoah Valley. Charlie Wampler and Trigg Strickler, some of the people that ran Wampers in Rocco years ago, back in the 40s and 50s. They started getting growers in the valley and over here in West Virginia to grow chickens for them in little wooden chicken houses.
Virginia's poultry industry provides 13,000 direct jobs and provides 42,000 jobs indirectly related to the industry. Dr. Barry Falk with James Madison University in Harrisonburg says the booming poultry industry affects more areas of the Commonwealth's economy than you might think.
And so you get what's called a multiplier effect, in which everybody's spending is an income benefits from the additional income for people in that particular group. They will, because of their higher incomes, they'll be providing more tax revenue to local and state governments. They will rely less on the need for the social services the government supplies to people who are struggling, and that puts less pressure on local and state government spending.
Virginia is currently ranked 4th in turkey production in the U.S., and we're the 9th largest chicken producing state. Virginia egg producers also sell almost $69 million worth of eggs, while poultry production is heaviest in the Shenandoah Valley. You can find poultry farms almost everywhere in the Old Dominion. The Eastern Shore is the 2nd largest poultry producing region, followed by Southside Virginia. And poultry exports to other countries continue to be one of the bright spots in Virginia agriculture. Mexico, China, and Canada are the top 3 buyers of U.S. turkey meat. However, most of those dollars are not making it back to the growers. Weaver says there are about 1,200 growers in the Shenandoah Valley alone, and more than 500 in West Virginia, and they're all facing some major challenges.
Well, the most challenging part is right now is making ends meet with what the companies pay us. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a significant increase for poultry growers for many years, at least 10. And our costs have gone up just like everybody else's. 10 years ago, our propane that we heat these houses with was 60, 70 cents. Now it's over $2 sometimes.
Despite the never-ending challenge of making a profit in a world market, the reports show that Virginia poultry growers are leaders in this vibrant economic sector. In Harrisonburg, Virginia, I'm George Lilly.
We're so glad you could join us this month to celebrate all the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, your landscape, or our wide open spaces, this is truly what real Virginia is all about. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good month.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia.